Attention duelists! It is Monday, which means it's time for another fun-filled episode of Watch and Learn. No point messing around. Let's get right into our first duel. We have what appears to be a Despia player going up against, and I don't know what. Despia versus Cyber. So, Duelist A set Edgem Chain Defense Mode and branded in red face down. Duelist B on their turn, they summon Cyber Dragon Core and are attempting to use its effect to add a Cyber Spell Trap to the hand. Duelist A is going to counter by activating Max C, which will allow them to draw every time their opponent special summons a monster. Max C will resolve, as will Cyber Dragon Core. Cyber Core will add Cyber Repair Plant to hand. Duelist B will then activate Cyber Emergency. Cyber Emergency will let them add either a Light Machine or a Cyber Dragon monster from their deck to their hand, and they're going to add Cyber Dragon Hers. They're then going to activate the effect of Galaxy Soldier in their hand. Galaxy Soldier's effect allows them send one other light monster from the hand to the graveyard, and they're going to discard Cyber Dragon Hers to summon Galaxy Soldier. This will activate Maxi for the first time this turn, allowing the opponent to draw one card. Galaxy Soldier's effect will then happen when it is special summoned to add another Galaxy monster from deck to hand. This will chain into Cyber Dragon Hers' effect. Cyber Dragon Hers' effect, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one Cyber Dragon from your deck or graveyard to the hand. So Cyber Dragon Hers will add a Cyber Dragon Standard to hand, and Galaxy Soldier will add another Galaxy Soldier to hand. Duelist B will activate Cyber Repair Plant to add one Light Machine from their deck to their hand, choosing Juzukiri, the Star Destroying Kaiju. Then they're going to use Star Destroying Kaiju's effect to summon itself by tributing an opponent's monster, in this case the opponent's Edgem Chain. This will trigger Max C again, allowing them to draw another card, and because Edgem Chain was sent to the graveyard, they're able to add Fright for Patchwork to their hand. Duelist B is then going to use Power Bond, fusing the Cyber Dragon and the Cyber Dragon Core that they have into Chimeratech Rampage Dragon. Due to Power Bond's effect, Rampage Dragon's attack points are doubled. They're then going to use Rampage's effect on Summon to destroy branded in red. After that, they're going to use Rampage Dragon's effect to send Cyber Dragon Core and Cyber Dragon Nashter from deck to graveyard, giving Rampage Dragon 2 additional attacks this turn. They go into the battle phase, they swing over Juzukiri, and then they're going to swing directly twice for game. And the match goes to the Cyber Dragon player. Alright, this game looks like it'll be a bit more interesting. Looks like we're running a coin toss / die deck. They activate second coin toss and then activate Cup of Ace. Second coin toss allows you, if you're dissatisfied with the coin toss effect, to flip again. Cup of Ace, you flip a coin. If heads, you draw 2 cards. If tails, your opponent gets 2. They get heads and are able to draw 2. They set Dice Jar face down and end their turn. There's their opponent's turn. Opponent is going to summon Watt Giraffe and equip it with Axe of Despair. That is so not what I expected to see today. Watt Giraffe has the ability that can attack directly, and if it does, your opponent can't activate cards or effects until the end of this turn. And equipping it with Axe of Despair makes it a 2200 attack point monster. They're going to swing direct. Watt Giraffe's effect will turn off the opponent for the rest of the turn. And then they pass turn. Duelist B draws called by the grave. They're going to flip up Dice Jar. Dice Jar's effect is both players roll a die. The player with the low result takes damage equal to the opponent's roll times 500. However, if the winner rolled a 6, the loser will take 6,000 damage. If the rolls are the same, both players roll again. And the first roll was a 6. So, depending on what the next roll is, this could be a ton of damage. It's a 1. Duelist A takes 6,000 damage. Passes turn. Duelist B set summons Watt Pheasant, which can also attack directly. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by direct attack, select one face-up monster of the field and remove it from play until the end phase of this turn. Which, for lack of any other effect, is going to banish Dice Jar. Duelist B is at 2,600, Duelist A is at 2,000, and has one Dice Jar set in face-down defense position. Depending on what rolls they get when it flips face-up, this is probably game. Duelist B draws Fairy Box, sets it, flips up Dice Jar. First roll is another 6. Second roll is a 2. 6,000 damage to Duelist A. That is game. Poor Watt player. I had no idea how to prepare for that. There was no way to prepare for that. Dice Jar. Alright. Looks like we have another Despia deck. They're going to summon Aluber. And the opponent's going to chain a Max C to Aluber's summon. Aluber's effect on summons to add a branded spell trap from deck to hand. Both are going to resolve. They add Branded Opening to their hand. They're going to activate Branded Opening, sending away Despian Tragedy to add Dramaturge of Despia to their hand. Because Tragedy was sent to the graveyard, they can add another Despian, in this case Ad Libitum, to their hand. They set Called by the Grave, and they pass turn. Duelist A activates Sword Soul Emergence, adding Sword Soul Moye to their hand. They're then going to reel Sword Soul Vishuda. If they control no effect monsters, they can special summon it, which they do, and then they're going to turn it into a 1-link of Monk of the Tenyi. Vishuda's effect, when it is sent to the graveyard, would go off, but the opponent is going to chain that into a Max. He's going to chain the face down, which is Called by the Grave, targeting Max C, banishing Max C. Duelist B is then going to activate Tenyi Spirit of the Adhara that control no effect monsters. They can special summon it, which they do. And then they're going to link it and Monk of the Tenyi into Crystron Halki Fibrex. Halki Fibrex is then going to summon Deskbot 001 from the deck, which is going to link with Halki Fibrex into Draco Masters of the Tenyi, a link 3. Masters of the Tenyi's effect is going to go off. If you control no other effect monsters, you destroy effect monsters your opponent controls up to the number of non-effect monsters you control and or in your graveyard, which at this point is 1. So they're going to use that to destroy Aluber. Then they're going to do their first normal summon of the turn, which is Sword Soul Moye. Moye is going to reveal Sword Soul Emergence to summon a Sword Soul token, which they're then both going to be synced off, Moye and the token, into Shishao, Sword Soul Grandmaster. Shishao's effect is going to activate, and so is Sword Soul Moye. Moye's effect is going to let them draw a card, and Shishao is going to add Sword Soul Strategist Long Yuan to hand. Long Yuan will reveal itself and pitch Tenyi Spirit Vishuda to summon itself and a Sword Soul token. Both those are going to be synced up into Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign Cheng Ying. Duelist A has lethal on board, and he's going to swing for game. Hello, angry hard-boiled eggs. Thank you for joining the stream. This match looks like it's already going to be more complicated because we have an Endymion player, which means there's going to be a lot of spell counters to keep track of. First thing they're going to do is they're going to set Servant of Endymion in the Pendulum Zone. Opponent is going to chain a Max C. I am watching games. I'm watching and I'm learning. Max C is going to resolve, as will Servant of Endymion being set in the Pendulum Zone. Then they're going to activate Spellbook of Secrets to add another Spellbook card from deck to the hand. They're going to add Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, and then they're going to summon it. One spell counter is put on Servant of Endymion. They activate Spellbook of Knowledge, send to the graveyard one spellcaster you control or one spellbook card from the hand to field, draw 2. And they're going to send away the Magician of Prophecy to be able to draw 2. They draw Pot of Prosperity and Mythical Institution. They're then going to set in the field zone Magical Citadel of Endymion. Another spell counter goes on the Servant. Then they're going to activate Mythical Institution. Mythical Institution. Each time a face-up pendulum monster you control because destroyed by battle or card effect, place 2 spell counters on this card. Once per turn, you can remove any number of spell counters from your field, add 1 monster from your hand to your deck, or face an extra deck with a level equal to the removed counters that you can place counters on. Alright. They also use Servant of Endymion's effect to remove 3 spell counters from it to special summon itself and 1 monster from the deck with 1000 or more attack, which was Mythical Beast Jackal King. Then they pass turn. They have 3 spell counters on the field total. Duel's B's turn, they summon Dragoonity Senatus. Dragoonity Senatus effect will activate to discard a Dragoonity card, equip a Dragoonity tuner from their deck to itself. Jackal King is going to chain to that. Each time a spell card is activated, nope. When an opponent activates a monster effect, remove 2 spell counters from the field, negate the activation, and destroy that card. So by removing the spell counter from Jackal King and Servant of Endymion, they're negating Senatus' effect and destroying it. Duel's B is then going to special summon Garuda the Wind Spirit by banishing the Senatus from their graveyard. Garuda is then going to attack Servant of Endymion. Servant of Endymion will then use its effect, which is a quick effect, to discard 1 card, place 1 spell counter on each card you control, just to get more spell counters on the field before it goes. They're going to ditch Pot of Prosperity, putting a spell counter on Magical Citadel, Mythical Beast Jackal King, and Mythical Institution. Then they're going to Servant of Endymion goes to the extra deck face up. Then it's going to use its own effect to set itself back to the Pendulum Zone. Passes turn, player draws Endymion, the Magistus Master, and activates Spellbook of Secrets. Spellbook of Secrets adds another Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. Magician of Prophecy adds Spellbook of Knowledge. They're going to use the same combo, sending away the Magician of Prophecy to draw 2. One of the cards they draw is Harpy's Feather Duster, which they're going to activate. It would destroy Called by the Grave, which is going to chain into the Magician of Prophecy, just to get it banished off. More spells are going off, so the Endymion player has a lot of spell counters. They're going to activate the effect of Mythical Institution. So they're going to remove 3 counters to add Magister of Endymion and set it in the Pendulum Zone. They're then going to Pendulum Summon. No, not Pendulum Summon. They're going to use the effect of Servant of Endymion, removing counters to summon itself and Mythical Beast Master Cerberus. Master Cerberus is going to use its effect. Its effect of removing 4 spell counters, target 1 monster your opponent controls, and banish it. And if you do, this card gains attack equal to the banished monster's original attack until the end of the opponent's turn. He banishes Garuda the Wind Spirit, which increased the attack of Cerberus by 1600. He is now going to swing with 4400, 900, and 2400. Duel's B has 300 life points left. Main phase 2. Player sets Endymion, the mighty master of magic, in their Pendulum Zone. I'm pretty sure Endymion is still the card that has the most words in its effect, so I'm only going to mention what it does as it comes up. He is going to use its effect. You can remove 6 counters from your field, special summon itself from the Pendulum Zone, then count the number of cards you control that can have a spell counter. Destroy up to that many cards on the field, and if you do, place spell counters on this card equal to the number of cards destroyed. That is its Pendulum effect. So Endymion is summoning himself. Mythical Institution will react by Just adding another counter to itself, I guess. No, its counters goes down by 1. So by removing 1 counter from Mythical Institution, he is turning off or negating the effect of Endymion that would force him to destroy cards he controls. Passes turn, Duel's B has 300 life points, 3 cards in hand. They summon Blackwing Zephyros, and they swing into Cerberus, ending their own life. A pretty tricky one for a Dragooni player to get around. Can't say I'm terribly surprised at the outcome, especially when he got shut down immediately. Alright, looks like we have a Mech Knight player going up against probably Invoked Shadal. Duelist A summons Alistair the Invoker, which adds Invocation to their hand. They're then going to link off Alistair into Salamangreat Almirage. Almirage is then going to be linked off into Secure Gardna. Alright, then they're going to activate Invocation. Invocation will fuse the Secure Gardna on their field with Alistair in their graveyard. This one invoked Mechaba. They will then use the effect of Invocation in their graveyard, putting it back into the deck to return Alistair from the banished zone to their hand. They then pass turn. Duel's B draws Call of the Haunted. They set Call of the Haunted, World Legacy Secret, and World Legacy Corruption. Corruption's effect is once per turn if a face-up Link monster controls destroyed by battle or leaves the field by an opponent's card effect. You can special summon 1 World Legacy monster from your hand or deck in defense position. You can only control 1 World Legacy's Corruption. They then summon Mech Knight Purple Nightfall. The Mech Knights have the unique effect of being able to special summon themselves if there are 2 or more cards in the same column. He summons it to the far left column, which contains World Legacy Secret and Invoked Mechaba. Mech Knight Purple Nightfall has 2500 attack, as does Mechaba, so he could potentially go for a crash here. He's going to activate the effect of Purple Nightfall. Purple Nightfall's effect is, you can target 1 Mech Knight monster you control, banish it until the end phase, and if you do, add 1 Mech Knight monster from your deck to your hand, except Mech Knight Purple Nightfall. However, the opponent is going to negate this by using Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring's effect, that is in this case, is to negate an effect that would add a card from deck to hand. So, Purple Nightfall is not going to send itself away. He goes into the battle and attempts to swing into Mechaba, however his opponent is going to activate the effect of Alistair the Invoker in their hand. Quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Target 1 fusion monster you control, it gains 1000 attack and defense until the end of this turn. So unfortunately Mechaba goes up to 3500 attack points, beats the Mech Knight Purple Nightfall in the battle. Opponent takes 1000, player takes 1000 damage. Enters main phase 2, special summons Mech Knight Yellow Star in defense position in the column that Mechaba is also in. It has the effect where you can banish a Mech Knight monster from your graveyard to destroy 1 spell or trap in its own column. However, the opponent does not have one, so unless he wants to destroy his own, I don't think he's going to use that effect. Player passes turn. It's back to the invoked player. They're going to activate a second copy of Invocation this turn. For this duel. Banishing Alistair and Ash Blossom Joyous String to summon Invoked Purgatorio. Purgatorio's effect gains 200 attack for each card your opponent controls, which currently is 4. Can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage to your opponent. That is a nice set of effects for someone looking to beat over a full board. In response to its summon, the World Legacy player is going to activate World Legacy Secrets. When this card is activated, you can target 1 level 5 or higher monster in your graveyard, special summon it. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. Negate any opponent's monster effect that activates in the same column as Mech Knight monster you control. That secondary effect is probably the one that's more relevant right now. However, they are adding another monster to their board, which is going to make Purgatorio stronger. And Purgatorio can attack every monster your opponent controls. They're going to use Alistair's effect, invoked Invocations effect in the graveyard again, returning to the deck to add Alistair back to hand. They enter the battle phase. Purgatorio swings over Yellow Star and Purple Nightfall. Then Mechaba is going to attempt to attack directly. Player will activate Call of the Haunted to bring back Purple Nightfall. Because there are new monsters on the board, the attack is allowed to be reset, so instead Purgatorio is going to attack into Mech Knight Purple Nightfall. This will allow Mechaba to still attack directly because its attack is still an option available to it. Purgatorio being able to attack all monsters your opponent controls and activates again, giving it a third attack this turn. Purple Nightfall attempts to activate its effect, which the player will, to add a Mech Knight to the hand. Opponent will attempt to activate Mechaba's effect. However, I do believe because World Legacy's secret, its effect will not resolve because it is in the same column as Purple Nightfall. That is correct. Mechaba's effect is negated. So Mechaba's negation is negated, allowing Purple Nightfall to resolve. And add a Red Moon to hand. Because the monster left the field, Purgatorio is not allowed to attack, and I believe I was wrong before, Mechaba is also no longer able to attack. So that was a pretty slick move to negate an opponent's effect, get off Purple Nightfall's effect, and add a card to hand. The effect of Purple Nightfall is going to happen in the standby phase, allowing it to re-summon itself. Because the card banished by it is only banished until the standby phase of your next turn. And he's going to be able to add one Mech Knight monster from his deck to his hand. No, sorry, that effect was the one that already resolved. He is going to set World Legacy Landmark in the Spell Trap Zone, and in that column, which shares with Purgatorio, he's going to set Mech Knight Red Moon. Red Moon's effect is, if two or more cards in the same column, special summon it. You can only do this once per turn. You can banish one Mech Knight monster from your graveyard, target one face-up monster in this card's column, destroy it. Which he is going to do, banishing Yellow Star, attempting to destroy Purgatorio. Unfortunately, he is not. If Purple Nightfall had been set in the same column as Mechaba, it would have been able to prevent Mechaba's activation. So, he activates the effect of Red Moon, banishing Yellow Star to destroy Purgatorio. Mechaba's effect goes off to discard a card to negate the activation of that effect and banish it. Mech Knight Purple Nightfall's effect goes off to banish a card and summon. And add to hand. Ash Blossom Joyous Spring goes off to negate the effect of Purple Nightfall. I believe this resolution should work in the invoked player's favor. Purple Nightfall is negated. Mechaba's effect is resolved, so Red Moon is banished. If he would have set Purple Nightfall in World Legacy Secret, that would have prevented Mechaba's effect from activating. So that is a misplay on the Mech Knight player's part. They have to pass turn. Duelist A summons Alistair because Alistair is a... Oh. They summoned Alistair in the column of Mech Knight Purple Nightfall, which means they cannot activate Alistair's effect to add Invocation to hand. Don't know if that was intentional or not. Player is going to attack with Purgatorio into Purple Nightfall. Purple Nightfall is going to banish itself, and he is not going to chain Mechaba to that to negate the activation, so Purple Nightfall's effect will go off, and he will add Mech Knight Indigo Eclipse to their hand. Purgatorio swings directly for 3,100. Mechaba swings directly for 2,500. It is game. I don't like watching invoked players do things just because I don't like the way Alistair goes into stuff like Shadal and all that. And I believe if it weren't for the misplay of placement of Purple Nightfall on that one turn, the Mech Knight player stood a good chance of getting through this. So it's a sad day, sports fans. You heard my typing then? No, you didn't. Alright, this looks like an Exodia player. They set Super Polymerization, Obliterate, 3 exclamation marks, and the head of Exodia, the Forbidden One. And they pass turn. Duelist A's turn, they draw for turn. Oh dear, it's a Drytron player. Alright, then I bring up the logs. They activate the effect of Drytron Alpha Thuban. Alpha Thuban's effect is you contribute one other Drytron monster or ritual monster from your hand or field, special summon this card from your hand or graveyard in defense position. Then you can add one ritual monster from your deck to your hand. Yep, it is the vagueness of Drytron's just ritual that makes them such a problem. Not Drytron ritual, just ritual. So they're going to add Cyber Angel Ben 10 to their hand and summon Thuban in defense mode. They're then going to activate the effect of Drytron Zeta Aldiba. Aldiba has the same effect of tributing one other Drytron or ritual monster from your hand or field to special summon itself. They're going to tribute Cyber Angel Ben 10. And they'll use it to add Meteonus Drytron to their hand. Ben 10's effect is going to resolve, which its effect is if this card is tributed, you can add one light fairy monster from your deck to your hand, which is going to add Herald of Ultimateness to their hand. Herald of Ultimateness is a perfectly balanced card that has the effect of when your opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect, send one fairy monster from your hand to the graveyard, negate. No, let me retract that. Has the neat effect of when your opponent would special summon a monster or activate a spell or trap or a monster effect, send one fairy monster from your hand to the graveyard, negate the special summon or activation, and if you do, destroy it. They will then activate the effect of Drytron Gamma Eltonin, which is going to tribute the Alpha Thuban on the field to summon itself. And there's also special summon a Drytron with 2000 attack from your graveyard, which will be the Alpha Thuban that it just tributed. So, neat little cycle of just free monster for free. This then does lock the player into the effect of you cannot special summon monsters that cannot be normal. You cannot special summon monsters except monsters that cannot be normal summoned or set the turn you activate this effect. However, this will hardly be a problem for your ritual deck. He then activates Meteonus Drytron, tributing Drytron Zeta Aldiba. This will summon Herald of Ultimateness. Meteonus Drytron is a neat little ritual card that has the effect of ritual summon any ritual monster from your hand or graveyard. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose attack equals or exceeds the attack of the ritual monster you ritual summon. So instead of other ritual cards using levels, this one uses the attack stat. And because all the Drytron monsters that are not ritual monsters have 2000 attack, this makes them overqualified to summon. My voice just cracked there. Overqualified to summon a lot of ritual monsters. In this case, it is summoning Herald of Ultimateness. They're then going to use the effect of Meteonus Drytron in the grave. Target one Drytron monster you control. It loses exactly 1000 attack until your opponent's turn. If it does, add this card to your hand. You can only use this effect of Meteonus Drytron once per turn. So he's going to reduce the attack of Gamma Eltonin to add Drytron back to hand. He's then going to link off his Drytron Gamma Eltonin and Alpha Thuban into Nightmare Phoenix. He's going to use Nightmare Phoenix's effect, which is you can discard one card, target one spell trap your opponent controls, destroy it. This is going to discard the Meteonus Drytron he had just added back to his hand to attempt to destroy his opponent's Super Polymerization. The Exodia player is going to activate Obliterate in response, which is effective. Obliterate is target one monster on the field, send one Forbidden One monster or Exodia card from hand or deck to the graveyard. And if you do, return that target to the hand. If this card is sent from the spell trap zone to the graveyard, target one Exodia, one Forbidden One monster or Exodia card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use one Obliterate effect per turn and only once that turn. And he is targeting Nightmare Phoenix with Obliterate. Obliterate is going to resolve, sending away the right leg of the Forbidden One, bouncing Nightmare Phoenix back to the extra deck. Super Polymerization is still destroyed. As the board stands, the player has Obliterate face up on the field, the Exodia the Forbidden One face down defense position, versus his opponent's Herald of Ultimateness and one back row. he draws Invocation for the turn. He activates Foolish Burial, sending away the left leg of the Forbidden One. Then using the effect of Obliterate, targeting Herald of Ultimateness, which does revolve, and he sends away the left arm of the Forbidden One. Countering this, player is going to activate Called by the Grave, targeting the left arm of the Forbidden One, and banishing it. Player summons Morphing Jar, and is going to use it and Exodia to make Predaplant Vert Anaconda. He will then use Vert Anaconda's effect, sending off Fusion Destiny, along with Destiny Hero Celestial and Destiny Hero Malicious, to make Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. Both his monsters will swing directly for 3,000. Score is 5,000 to 6,000. It is the Drytron player's turn. They draw for turn. They draw Cyber Emergency. They will use Cyber Emergency to add Drytron Medionis Dracondis to hand. They will then activate Forbidden Droplet and will pitch away Herald of Ultimateness. This will negate the effect of one monster the opponent controls and half its attack points. And also the player cannot respond using any monster effects because they attributed a monster to when they used Forbidden Droplet. So right now, Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer cannot use its effect. That is a big shutdown to have go off. They then would activate the effect of Drytron Gamma Eltinent in the graveyard, which will be tributing Drytron Medionis Dracondis to summon Gamma Eltinent and Drytron Zeta Aldaba. Zeta Aldaba will decrease its own attack points by 1,000 to add Medionis Drytron back to hand. Drytron Alpha Thuban will activate its effect from the graveyard, which will tribute Zeta Aldaba to summon itself. This will also have the effect of adding Cyber Angel Vrash to hand, which goes off of Alpha Thuban's effect when it is summoned. Players then go to activate Medionis Drytron, using Gamma Elton and Alpha Thuban as material to summon Cyber Angel Vrash. If this ritual card is summoned, you can destroy as many face-up monsters your opponent controls as possible that were special summon from the extra deck, and if you do, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent for each. And if you do, this card can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. That is a nice effect. So as it stands, that will destroy Vert Anaconda, destroy Phoenix Enforcer, do 2,000 damage, and give this monster 2,000 attacks, which would be, not 2,000 attacks, that's too much. Give it an extra attack. Its attack stat is 3,000, so that alone is, assuming it wipes the board, 8,000 damage. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that will destroy a card on the field, you can shuffle one ritual monster from your graveyard into the deck, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Vrash's on-summon effect will activate. However, Obliterate will activate in response. Obliterate will send away the legendary Exodia Incarnate, and that will bounce Vrash back to hand. But Vrash's on-summon effect will still go off, destroying Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer and Vert Anaconda. Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer's effect will activate in the grave, presumably targeting itself to summon itself on the next standby phase. Drytron Zeta Aldaba's effect will activate in the graveyard. Will activate from the graveyard, tributing Vrash to summon itself back, and this will add a ritual spell from deck to hand, which will be Medionis Drytron. Medionis Drytron will activate again, sending away Drytron Zeta Aldaba to summon Herald of Ultimateness. Herald of Ultimateness is in attack mode. It swings directly for 2,000. Scores 5,000 to 2,000. It is the quote-unquote Exodia player's turn. They draw Magical Meltdown, and Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer summons itself back. They're going to set Invocation face down along with Magical Meltdown. Now their hand is empty, they're going to use the effect of Destiny Hero Celestial. Celestial's effect is if you have no cards in your hand, you can banish itself and one other Destiny Hero monster to draw 2 cards. He will then activate Magical Meltdown, which will allow him to add Alistair the Invoker from his deck to hand. He will normal summon Alistair, which will not add Invocation to hand, but he will link it off into Artemis the Magistus Moon Maiden. Then he will activate Invocation. Invocation will fuse the Alistair in his grave with the Drytron Medionis Dracondis in his opponent's grave to make Invoked Mechaba. He'll use the effective invocation in his graveyard, returning it to the deck to add Alistair back to his hand. Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer will swing over Herald of Ultimateness. Artemis Magistus Moonmaiden and Invoked Mechaba will swing directly. Score is 1200 to 2000. Duelist A attempts to activate the effect of Drytron Zeta Aldaba. It summons itself, tributing Gamma Elton from his hand to summon itself. Then Gamma Elton in the graveyard will activate its effect, tributing Drytron Zeta Aldaba, which summons Gamma along with Zeta Aldaba. Meteonos Drytron in the graveyard will activate its effect, attempt to activate its effect. However, the opponent will use Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer's effect to destroy Artemis the Magistus Moonmaiden and the monster that had been targeted with Meteonos Drytron. Because Meteonos Drytron's target is no longer on field to continue the effect, its effect fizzles. So Duelist A has nothing other than Gamma Elton in defense mode, which has 0 defense points. They pass turn. Player draws for turn, goes into battle phase, swings with Mechaba over Gamma Elton, swings directly with Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. And that's game. If you just heard me typing, no you didn't. Alright, looks like we probably have, when we look at the extra deck, is this the one-turn KO deck? That'll be fun to narrate. Player sets Ignite Gallant in the Pendulum Zone, along with Ignite Cavalier. Ignite Gallant's effect activates, destroying both monsters in the Pendulum Zone to add Sublimation Knight to hand. Sublimation Knight is summoned. Its effect activates, equipping itself with Squeak Knight from the deck. Squeak Knight's effect activates, removing itself from being an equipped monster to the field, and then both monsters are sent away for the Link summon of Isolde, Two Tales of Noble Knights. Isolde's effect will then activate to add Ignite Crusader to hand. Ignite Crusader will set itself in the Pendulum Zone, as will Ignite Squire. They will then use these cards to Pendulum Summon Ignite Gallant and Ignite Cavalier. Isolde will activate her effect, which is to send any number of equipped spells with different names from your deck to the graveyard, special summon one warrior monster from your deck, whose level equals the amount of cards you sent. They are sending away Telekinetic Charging Cell to summon Infernoble Knight Renaud. Renaud's effect activates on summon, which will add the equipped card that was sent to the graveyard back to the hand. They will then special summon another Renard. Renard? I thought it was Renaud. Whoops. And that Renard will link with Isolde to summon Crystron Halki Fibrex. Halki Fibrex effect will activate to summon Righty Driver. Righty Driver, Renaud, and Ignite Gallant will be synced off to form Road Warrior. The remaining Ignite Cavalier and Crystron Halki Fibrex will link off into Reproticus. Road Warrior's effect is going to activate to summon Cyberstein from the main deck. Reproticus' effect is going to use its effect to declare one monster type. All face-up monster types become this card points to become that type until the end of this turn, and he declares Psychic. He's then going to activate Telekinetic Charging Cell, equipping it to Cyberstein. Telekinetic Charging Cell's effect is equip onto a Psychic monster. You do not pay life points to activate this monster's effect. Cyberstein's effect costs 5,000 life points, but due to it being made Psychic by Reproticus and being equipped with Telekinetic Charging Cell, you no longer have to pay life points to activate its effect. Seems fair. You will then use Cyberstein's effect to summon Lyrolesque Independent Nightingale. Independent Nightingale and Reproticus will link off into another Reproticus. This is just to get Independent Nightingale in the graveyard. Cyberstein will activate its effect again to summon Windwitch Crystal Bell. Then use its effect again to summon DDD Super Doom King Purple Armageddon. And use it a third time to summon another Doom King Purple Armageddon. Then these will both be fused off in a contact fusion to summon Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom. Starving Venom will then use its effect, which is if this card is future summoned using. Show me your actual effect. Must be special summoned by attributing the above cards, which is two Dark Pendulum monsters, which is what the DDD Super Doom Kings were. Once per turn, you can target one other monster on the field or in the graveyard. Until the end phase, this card's name becomes that monster's original name and replace this effect with that monster's original effects. Also, first of this turn, if your monster attacks a defense monster, inflict piercing damage to your opponent. He is targeting Lyrlusk Independent Nightingale. Its effect is, if this card... that doesn't matter. Its other effect... this card gains attack equal to its level times 500. It's unaffected by other card effects. Once per turn, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to this card's level times 500. Starving Venom Dragon's effect level is 8, giving it 4,000 additional attack points. Crystal Bell has the same effect. Where are you? Yep, Crystal Bell has the same effect of targeting a monster in the graveyard and gaining its effect. It also is level 8. So by both them targeting Lyrlusk Independent Independent Nightingale, both of them are able to do just 4,000 points directly for game. Such fun counterplay. Also probably run by a bot. Alright, here we have a fun Sword Soul player. There's so few of them these days. It's nice to see this endangered species. They activate Sword Soul Emergence to add Sword Soul strategist Long Yuan to hand. They activate the effect of Tenyi Spirit Vajutta to special summon itself. Then they activate Long Yuan's effect to discard a indifferent Sword Soul card or War Monster, special summon itself, and then a Sword Soul token. They're going to discard Sword Soul Assessment. Long Yuan and the token are going to sync off into Baron de Fleur. Long Yuan's effect is going to activate from the graveyard, which is, if it is sent to the graveyard as sync material, deal 1,200 damage to your opponent. Player is then going to summon Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and is going to link that off with the Tenyi Spirit Vajutta into Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign Shishao, or Chen Ying. His opponent will pass their turn. Passes back to first player's turn. They're swinging with both monsters for 6,000. Duel stays turn. They pass turn, having to discard one. Judging by the card they discarded, they are just the basic starter deck, and this is just a bare bones bot. It exists to die. And it did. Good news, everyone. Sword Soul can beat players that do not play back. Alright, we have a Blackwing player this time. They're going to summon Blackwing Zephyros the Elite. And they will special summon Harmattan the Dust and Gale the Whirlwind. Harmattan can be special summoned if you control a Blackwing monster other than itself. And Gale the Whirlwind has the same effect. You can special summon itself if you control a Blackwing monster other than Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind. Harmattan and Gale are going to be linked off into Raid Raptor Wise Strix. Wise Strix's effect is going to attempt to activate, but the opponent will chain an Ash Blossom to it to negate its effect. Wise Strix would have allowed him to add a Dark Winged Beast monster from their deck to their hand, or from their deck in defense. They would have been allowed to special summon a level 4 Dark Winged Beast monster. But it's negated by Ash Blossom. Instead, they're going to end their turn. It is Duelist A's turn. They draw. They activate Raigeki. The opponent will chain a Max C to that, which is going to resolve. Raigeki is going to resolve, which will wipe the board. They set 2 back row and pass their turn. Max C did not allow them to draw any cards. Duel Speed draws Raigeki. They summon Harmattan the Dust. The opponent will chain an Effect Veiler to Harmattan. They will then use the effect of Zephyros the Elite to special summon itself by bouncing Harmattan back to their hand. They go into the battle phase and they attempt to swing directly with Zephyros. Opponent will activate Conquistador of the Golden Land, which is a trap monster, which is more defense than Zephyros has attack points. They will not go through with the attack and will pass turn. Duelist A draws for their turn, does nothing, passes turn. Duelist B draws for their turn, does nothing, passes turn. Duelist A draws for turn, does nothing, passes turn. Blackwing player draws for turn. They summon Blackwing Chris, the Crack of Dawn, which has the effect of you can special summon if you control Blackwing that's not this card. It has more attack than Conquistador has defense. It swings over it. Zephyros the Elite attempts to swing. Opponent activates Magic Cylinders. Duelist B passes turn. Let me look at their extra deck real quick to see if he's just sitting on nothing. He really rolling on... He runs 1 copy of Wise Strix. If he was running a second copy of Wise Strix as opposed to this Wee Witch's Apprentice, he would have had more plays so far. I am criticizing this man's extra deck and his poor life choices. Passes turn. Duelist A draws for turn, draws Eldritch the Golden Lord, sends it and Numeron Calling away, targeting Chris the Crack of Dawn. Chris the Crack of Dawn is sent to the graveyard. They will then activate Numeron Wall. Numeron Wall will set Numeron Network. Numeron Network's effect will activate to activate the effect of Numeron Calling from the deck. Numeron Calling will summon the 4 Numeron Gates. The Numeron Gates will then attack Zephyros. They have the effect of, after one of them attacks, all of their attacks double. So the first one attacks with 1,000. Player who attacks takes 600 points of damage. Now all of his gates are at 2,000 attack points. The 2,000 attack point one attacks. Now all the gates go to 4,000 attack points. The 4,000 attack point attacks. And then he attacks one more time for game. What a travesty all that was. Alright. Looks like we have a hero player, judging from their reinforcement of the army, Miracle Fusion, 2 mask changes, and Forbidden Droplet. That is an unfortunate opening hand. They activate Reinforcement of the Army. Opponent activates Ash Blossom. They have no more plays for the rest of the turn. They set Miracle Fusion along with 1 Mask Change just to bluff. Pass turn to the opponent. The opponent is a Sword Soul player. They summon Tenyi Spirit Ajuna, which will link off into Monk of the Tenyi. Ashuna banishes itself to summon Adhara. They normal summon Sword Soul Moye. They reveal Sword Soul Emergence and get a token. Moye and the token will link off into Bashia, Brightness of the Yangzing. Bashia's effect will activate, targeting Mask Change, or will chain into Sword Soul of Moye. Moye let him draw a card. Yangzing will send Mask Change back into the deck. Bashia will target Monk of the Tenyi and Sword Soul Moye, destroy Monk of the Tenyi, summon Moye. They will then activate Sword Soul Emergence, adding Long Yuan to hand. They link off Monk of the Tenyi into Tenyi Spirit Adhara again. Tenyi Spirit Adhara will target Ashuna in the banish zone, add it back to the hand. Long Yuan will send away the Ashuna just added to summon itself and a token. That token will sync with Moye into another Bashia, Brightness of the Yangzing. This will target the Miracle Fusion, return it to the deck. They'll once again get rid of Monk of the Tenyi to bring back Moye. They will then summon Arch Nemesis Protoss and declare Dark. He will attack with all of his monsters. for game. Ain't Sword Souls just the best to watch? Alright, looks like this is a cubic player. That's rare. Maybe I know this guy. They're going to draw Vijam, Cubic Seed. They activate Foolish Burial Goods and will send away Cubic Karma. Cubic Karma's effect in the graveyard will activate to banish itself to add Duza, Meteoric Cubic Vessel. Duza will be summoned, and they will send another Cubic Karma to the graveyard. Cubic Karma will banish itself again. This will add Crimson Nova, Dark Cubic Lord, to the hand. They then activate the effect of Dark Cubic Lord, which will reveal itself. Sorry, it will reveal Buster Gundil, the Cubic Behemoth, Cubic Wave, and Cubic Ascension to summon itself. He's then going to swing with both of his monsters for a combined 4,600 damage and pass turn, after he sets Cubic Ascension. During the end phase, Cubic Nova will deal 3,000 damage to both players. Duelist A passes turn, does nothing. Enters battle phase, swing for game. Was really hoping to see a proper showcase given my recent past experiences with the Cubic player. But alas, in this battle of wits, his opponent was unarmed. Alright, hang on, let me just take a look real quick at this extra deck, and yep, we have already seen this before. This player is going first, so I'm going to do us all a favor and save me the trouble of narrating a replay we've already watched, because that was another Oko Fusion Cyberstein deck. And I can only put up with that so much, which is to say, not at all. Alright, here we go. Looks like we have a Kaiju / Earth Machine deck. By Earth Machines, I of course mean trains. Man phase 1, his opponent activates Melody of Awakening. He's going to discard the White Stone of Ancients to add a Blue Eyes White Dragon to hand. And a Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. He will then reveal the Blue Eyes White Dragon in his hand to special summon Alternative White Dragon. He'll set one card face down. The White Stone of Ancients effect will go off to special summon a Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. Abyss Dragon's effect will also go off to add Chaos Form to deck. He will reveal Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon, on summon, that's what it does. He will activate Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon's effect to add another Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon to hand. Player passes turn. Player activates Raigeki. Raigeki resolves, wiping out all of the Blue Eyes Dragons. He then activates Terraforming, adding Revolving Switchyard. Activates Revolving Switchyard. Switchyard's effect is, if a level 10 Earth Machine monster is normal or special summoned to your field, you can activate this effect. Your opponent takes no battle damage for the rest of this turn. Also, you special summon one level 4 Earth Machine monster with 1800 or more attack from your deck, and if you do, it becomes level 10. You can send one card from your hand to the graveyard. Add one level 10 Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use one Revolving Switchyard effect per turn, and only once that turn. He's going to use its effect, pitching Kumungus, the Sticky String Kaiju, to add Night Express Knight to hand. He will then summon Night Express Knight with the effect of, you can normal summon this card without attributing, but if you do, its original attack becomes 0. This will then activate the effect of Heavy Freight Train Derricrane. Derricrane's effect is, if an Earth Machine monster is normal special summoned to your field, you can special summon this card from your hand, but its original attack and defense become halved. You can only use the effect of Heavy Freight Train Derricrane once per turn. However, it doesn't matter because both are going to be exeized into Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. He will then use Gustav's effect, removing one unit to deal 2,000 points of damage. The effect of Heavy Freight Train Dare Crane will activate if this card is detached from Xyz's monster and sent to the graveyard. To activate that monster's effect, target one card your opponent controls and destroy it, which is going to destroy his opponent's back row Successor Soul. He's then going to link Xyz on top of Gustav with Super Dreadnought. What's your whole stupid name? Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Lieb. These names are too long. Its effect is, once per turn you can discard one material attached from this card. It gains 2,000 attack and defense. Also, for the rest of the turn, you can only declare attack with this card. During each battle phase, this card can make attacks on monsters up to the number of materials it has, +1. Opponent has 6,000 life, nothing on board. He's going to remove one material, making his monster have 6,000 attack points. He will attempt to swing directly. It works for game. Train decks look like they could be fun. Maybe someday I'll make one myself. I'll make a new trolley problem. Alright, looks like we have a, I guess I'll call it a Yosenju deck. If you want to call that a deck. His opponent is, I guess, running Noble Knights. He summons Merlin and is going to use Merlin's effect, attributing itself to summon Noble Knight Merdrot, who will then equip Noble Arms Clarent onto Merdrot, which will increase its level by 1, and allow him to summon Noble Knight Yvain. Or Ivan. Noble Arms Clarent will be destroyed. By the effect of Merdrot, it becomes dark if it is equipped to the card, and if you control none of the monsters, you can special summon one Noble Knight monster from your deck in defense position except Noble Knight Merdrot, and if you do, destroy the one equipped spell. So, by activating Clarent, he was able to special summon a monster using Merdrot's effect, and then that destroyed Clarent. Clarent's effect will then activate in the graveyard, targeting Yvain. If this card in the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, target one Noble Knight monster you control, equip this card to that target. What's the effect of Yvain when you have... I'm just going to keep saying Yvain. Or Ivan. While this card is equipped with a Noble Arms equip spell, all other Noble Knights you control gain 500 attack. If a Noble Arms equip spell becomes equipped to this card, summon one Noble Knight token, which he is going to do, which will summon the Noble Knight token. Then he is going to link those two off, the token and Ivy, into Isolde. Isolde's effect is going to activate to add Renaud to hand. Isolde will send away 4 Noble Knight Arm equipped spells to summon Noble Knight Boars. And will equip Boars with Noble Arms of Destiny. Noble Arms of Destiny can only be equipped to a warrior type monster. Once per turn, the equipped monster cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. If this card in the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, target one Noble Knight in your graveyard, equip this card to that target. You can only use this effect, Noble Arms Destiny, once per turn. Boris' effect is Noble unless it's equipped. When it's equipped, during your main phase, you can reveal 3 Noble Arms cards from your deck, have your opponent randomly add one of them to your hand, and send the rest to the graveyard. He's going to reveal 3 cards. The opponent is going to let him have the monster. Guinevere, Queen of the Noble Arms. Wow, why would they spell it like that? It's the Knights of the Round Table. They're not exactly copyright protected. Merdrot and Boars are going to be Xyz'd into Noble Knight of King Artorgus. Artorgus effect is going to activate. Let's just clock that real quick. When this card is Xyz summoned, you can target up to 3 Noble Arms equipped spells with different names in your graveyard. Equip those targets to this card. Once per turn, you can attach one Xyz material on this card, target one other monster in the field, destroy that target. If this card is in the field of the graveyard, target one level 4 or higher Noble Knight monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. Noble Arms of Destiny will also equip itself to him. So he has 4 equipped cards on it. Noble Arms Caliburn increases its attack by 500. and once per turn you can gain 500 life points. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, target one Noble Knight monster you control, equip this card to that target. Noble Arms Excalibur. It cannot be whatever is equipped to it cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects during your turn, except the turn this card is sent to the graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Target one Noble Knight Xyz monster you control, special from your extra deck one Noble Knight Xyz monster with a different name, by using the same target as material. This is treated as an Xyz summon. Xyz materials attached to it also become Xyz material of the summoned monster. And Noble Arms Gallatin. You can only control one. Monster equipped to gains 1000 attack. During each of your stamina phase, it loses 200 attack. If this card in the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one warrior type Noble Knight monster you control, equip this card to that target. Player passes turn. Player activates Monk Fire Formation Tenki, which will add Yosenju Kama to it. Yosenju Kama 1 to hand. Activate Yosenju Inza's effect, discarding itself. Opponent cannot activate card effects when a Yosenju monster is normal or special summoned. He will then summon Yosenju Kama 1. Kama 1's effect will activate, allowing him to summon Kama 2. Kama 2's effect will activate, allowing him to summon Kama 3. Kama 1's effect will then activate if you control another Yosenju monster, target one face-up monster your opponent controls, return it to their hand. And he's going to use that to bounce a soul back to the extra deck. Kama 2 is then going to attack directly, and Kama 3 is going to allow him to draw a card because a Yosenju monster inflicted damage to his opponent. And he draws Yosenju Sujik. Main phase 2, he's going to Xyz summon number 41, Baguska. Baguska's effect is going to activate, turning a bunch of monsters to defense mode. He then activates Fusion Destiny to summon Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. All monsters are turned to defense mode. The effect of Until Noble Arms are needed once again will activate from the graveyard. The effect is you can banish this card from your graveyard. Special summon one Noble Knight monster with a different name from the cards you control or in your graveyard. And he's going to use that to summon Noble Knight Brothers. Yosenju Kama 3 would be bounced back to hand, but its effect is negated. Artorigus attempts to use its effect, but it's negated because of Baguska. It attempts to go to attack mode, but is turned back to defense mode because Baguska. Player activates Reinforcement of the Army. Activates the effects of Guinevere from the graveyard. Target one Noble Knight monster you control. Equip this card from your hand or graveyard to that target. You can only use this effect once per turn. The equipped monster gains 300 attack. Apply the appropriate effect depending on the attribute of the equipped monster. Light. If the equipped monster would be destroyed by a card effect, you can destroy this card instead. Dark. If the equipped monster battles an opponent's monster at the start of the damage step, you can destroy that monster, then destroy this card. During the end phase, Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is destroyed by its own effect, and then uses its own effect to summon itself back. It is then changed to defense mode, or set in defense mode, because Baguska. Player activates Pot of Prosperity, banishing 6 to look at the top 6 of his deck, pick 1 to add to hand. Player adds Lightning Storm. Summons Yosenju Sujik, which gets turned to defense mode. Both monsters are going to be linked into Geonator Transerver. I think I know where this is going. Baguska turns itself to attack mode, allowing effects to be activated once again. Transerver has the neat effect of being able to swap control of the two monsters it points to. In this case, Baguska and Noble Knight Artorigus. Which it does do, and now Artorigus is occupying all of his opponent's spells and traps, and he is going to switch Artorigus to attack mode. Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer is going to use its effect to destroy itself and the Noble Knight Brothers. Artorigus swings over Baguska. Geonator Transerver attempts to attack directly. Opponent will chain until the Noble Arms are needed once again from the graveyard to summon Noble Knight Kustenin. Noble Knight Artorigus will remove 1 unit to destroy Kustenin. Passes turn. Phoenix Enforcer summons itself back. Caliburn's effect goes off, gaining life points. Player summons Immortal Phoenix Gearfried by banishing one equipped spell from his graveyard. He also normal summons the Noble Knight Brothers. Destroy Phoenix Enforcer, activate its effect, which will chain into Immortal Phoenix Gearfried's effect. Immortal Phoenix Gearfried's effect is... when a monster effect is activated, you can send one face equipped card you control to the graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. So he's negating Destroy Phoenix Enforcer's negation. Destruction. Second one. Destroy Phoenix Enforcer goes to the graveyard. It will summon itself back. He then summons Noble Knight Renaud in defense mode, special summoning it, targeting Noble Knight's Arfadutir. All these names are going to give me a stroke. Activates Arfadur, equipping itself to Renard. Using the effect of Arfadur, it will decrease the attack of the equipped monster by 500 to just target one set card your opponent controls and destroy it. So we got rid of his opponent's back row Yosenju's Sword Sting. He then summons Utopia Double using Kustenin and Noble Knight Brothers. This will add, using Utopia Double's effect, it will add a double or nothing to their hand. Then Utopia Double will turn into Utopia. With 5,000 attack points. Utopia attacks Geonair Transerver, uses its own effect to negate the attack, then double or nothing, which will allow it to attack again with double attack points, which will do 8,800 damage, which will swing for game. Dare I say I am not likely to encounter more unique decks in my spectating for today, so I'm going to end the watch and learn there. If you caught the stream, thanks for watching. If you're catching the replay, thanks for watching that too. Goodbye.